Okay, so I've been mentioning I'm going to share my mortise and tenon techniques, so I guess I'll go ahead and do that. So here's a line that I've taken with a square. Because this is a bit awkward, I went ahead and did it. But line your square up, strike your line, square it around the whole block, wherever you're going to be cutting. So, of course, this is going to be a through tenon. So the tenon is going to go through the material like this. So we're going to set up our mortise. You can use a mortising gauge like this and set it. And again, the tenon and the mortise can be offset either side. It doesn't matter. As long as the tenon is matched to the mortise, it won't matter. But let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and use the finger technique. So come here, come there, and there's the start of my mortises. I'm gonna come to the other side, do the same thing. Check it, check it. See? So now I've got a through mortise. See that? Now we'll go ahead and cut it. So the best way that I've found is by sitting on the material. So you can bring it up to your bench if you have to, but I have this little mortising bench that I use. Making sure you guys can see it. So I sit down. First thing you want to do, and I learned this from the Chinese, so don't think I stole it or nothing. You take your hammer and you rest the bottom of your hammer on this left knee. This is sitting to my left because I'm right-handed. I strike the chisel with my right. I strike with the hammer in my right hand. Right, the hammer is in my right hand, so the hammer rests on my left leg. Right, so the material sits on my left, and I guide the chisel with my left hand, and I strike with my right. It's my power. It's my stronger arm. So when you come in here, if you just come in and you bang around, right? If you're sitting there, bang, ba-bang, ba-bang, you're going to wear yourself out real quick. And if you're making a bunch of these, or if you're having to do this a lot, it's a lot better to do the proper technique. So this is what you do. You rest your hammer on this leg. You come up to your line. I'll give 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, something around that, which allows me to protect this bottom line here. Because if you come up to this line, you slam down into that, and then you pry, you're going to bruise this part of the mortise, and it's not going to look good. So here's what I do. I leave the flat part of the chisel towards my body, and I come up that 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch, whatever I deem necessary, and I strike. That's my first strike. That'll be my first strike in the mortise. One, and then sometimes I'll hit it a second time, just depends on the material. And then I walk the chisel forward. Now I hit again. Now I'm almost back to my original spot. Pry a little bit, strike it again. Now I am in the original spot. Now I'm going to strike down. Come back up, right? Now I'm in a new spot. Strike it again. I'm going to pry my waist out. See, there's the waist. Starting from the original location. Then I go up again. And I repeat this all throughout the mortise. So if you'll notice, it's just a very routine way of doing something. Resting the hammer on the leg, hit, walk the chisel forward, go back down to the original location. Pry your waist out, hit it again. Go back up. Again, we're getting close to that top line there. So if you speed up a little bit, on the back, I'll show you how I go normally. Now, we don't have a whole lot of material at this 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch that we left at the start. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right on my line, if that's my intention, or I'll leave the line. whatever the tenon calls for. I'm going to leave the line in this case. And I'm going to square this chisel face up to this face on the board here. I want it to go straight through, no issue. Everything's square. I strike. Go straight through. And then I don't want to, when I'm down in here, if I go this way, I'm going to bruise this face. So obviously, I want to send it that way, right? So we move away from it, come out. Now, cleaning this side up, you've got sort of a ramp here. Down in this mortise, there's a ramp. So you want to cut that ramp in half. So come up about halfway in that ramp. Strike it twice. Move the chisel away from this face here. Again, we don't want to bruise it. Now we go half of that half of a ramp here. So come half of that half. Now we're back to where we have that little 1/8 of an inch like we had down here. Now this is a bit of material, but you can kind of fudge it. So now we go to that face, keep it 90 degrees. There you go. Kind of move back, but you get the idea. Now, if I don't fall over, flip the material around, come at it from the other end. Ideally, you want to stop about halfway when you're mortising. Then you come from the other end. Then you start all over again. Make sure you can see it. Okay. Again, I'm no videographer or photographer or anything like that, so try and cut me a bit of slack here. I'm trying. So you come in, 90 degrees, and you start it just like we did. 1/8 of an inch, come down, move forward, pry. Now I'm back in the original spot. Okay. Go up. See, I'm resting my hammer on this leg. Now we go up a bit. Pry, come down. Do it again. Come through, go up higher. Do it again. Now, we're through this material, and maybe this mortise was a bit off, but you get the general idea. Make sure the hole is square, make sure the lines are square, make sure everything is in line for your layout, and this will work. But you get the idea. So come up onto your ramp, half the ramp. Right? Now we've got material on this end, material on this end. We got that 1/8. We'll go right on our line again, a little bit above it. See, walk the chisel. See, move away from it. Don't bruise that face. And come in this line, hit it too. Now, see, going to bruise the face if I go that way. Boom. See? See what I mean? It's a little bit off from the layout, but you can see it's a clean mortise. It'll need a bit of touch-up because the walls, again, layout was a bit weird. You get the general idea. That's the technique. Cut your tenon. Make sure the tenon is a little bit fatter than what you're putting in here. And don't split the board in half. It's simple.